I was struggling. I was in a really bad place.
I found out that I wasn't legally married.
My feelings had died out and I was just suffering in that relationship.
Islamically, he already gave me the 3 talaqs.
I was desperate to get divorced, so Jav's helped us out a lot.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening and welcome to another episode of Marriage Matters with me, your host, Javaid Iqbal. Now, we get a lot of this. The main complaint people have with regards to their relationship, narcissism, narcissistic behavior, narcissist partners. Now, what is narcissism? What is a narcissistic personality? What is the behavior? What is the traits? And more importantly, what can you do about it? To discuss all that and a lot more, we're joined this evening by Warisa, who joined us a couple of weeks ago, and I'm glad to have her back. Warisa, can you hear me? Welcome, Salam. Warisa, I can't, unfortunately, hear you at the moment at all. The line's gone completely quiet. Can you hear me?
I can hear you absolutely fine.
I still can't hear you, unfortunately. Right.
I'm not sure.
We're going to have to wait until we get Warisa back. But at the moment, obviously, I can't communicate with her. Narcissism, that's what we're going to discuss this evening. Personality traits, what it is. Usually, narcissists are self-obsessed. That's what they say. It's just about them, nobody else. They don't have empathy. They don't have sympathy. They don't have any feelings. They disregard what you're saying, your concerns, what you want to do, what you want to say is completely disregarded. It's about them. It's about me, me, me. Now, we get a lot of people coming through our doors and say, I'm married to somebody who's a narcissist. I try to speak to them. They completely ignore me. They shut me down. They tell me everything's my fault. Everything becomes about them. Every argument that you have is about them. It's not about you. It's not about your feelings. It's not about how they made you feel. It's about how you're making them feel. So they will say, no, but look what you've done. Look what, they won't self-reflect. They won't go inwards. They won't think, hang on a minute, maybe I've contributed to this. Maybe I've done something to make the other person feel like this. All they'll be concerned about is themselves. That's what narcissistic traits, that's what narcissistic personalities tend to bring to the table. Now, we were going to discuss with Warisa more. She obviously seen this in her professional life and in terms of obviously what she does. Right. Warisa, can you hear me now?
I can absolutely hear you fine.
You can hear me.
Yes.
Warisa, can you hear me?
Hear me?
Right, Warisa, explain to us what is a narcissistic personality trait?
So the traits of somebody who is a narcissist, it basically contains a lot of behavioral patterns that you need to look out for. So like you said, it's somebody who doesn't have any empathy for other people, somebody who's quite selfish, someone who wants the world to revolve around him or her, who loves being in control, who loves power, and who loves to always feel that he or she is always right and others are always wrong. And this kind of person may come across as somebody who's really charming, somebody you can trust, someone who comes across as really approachable and friendly and down to earth because they're really good actors. But those who become victims to these people are the ones who realize that behind closed doors, they are actually totally different to what they portray like. So, for example, they may come across as somebody that you can trust, but only when you start to get to know them, you realize that you can't really trust them because everything you say or do will be used against you at some point. And like you said, they're quite selfish. They don't really care about the needs of other people. They're quite preoccupied with thinking about themselves, their needs, their wants, their wishes, their desires. There are so many other things, and there are 2 types. So you've got the covert narcissist, and then you've got the overt narcissist. So there's one type that comes across as a narcissist to everyone. And then there's another type where they only portray as a narcissist to certain people, for example, a family member, siblings, spouse, work colleagues, and majority people are completely unaware of who they truly are.
Right. That's very interesting. Now, in terms of the narcissistic personality, is that something somebody's born with, or is it something that is developed over time and something that the narcissists themselves can control and contribute to? So where does the actual narcissistic personality inherently come from?
Again, it goes back to childhood. It goes back to how this person was raised, what kind of environment this person was raised in. Often the role of the caregiver or the parents and the attachment that this person had with his or her caregiver or parents comes into play. So instead of saying whether it's genetic or somebody's born with it or something you develop over time, so these are traits that are formed as a person is growing up. And often things like in your childhood, if you were never said no, for example, whatever the child asked for, the child was given. They learned that they can cross boundaries, they can throw tantrums, they can get whatever they want, and they don't get used to hearing the word no. So when they form relationships as an adult, they're used to that, having their way. They want everything to be according to their wishes, and they don't consider other people's needs and wants. So there are loads of elements and lots of theories around it, but it's something which develops over time. And it's you have to look for a pattern in their behavior. And to suss someone out, whether this person is a narcissist or not, you really have to kind of spend a lot of time with them to truly figure out whether they are a narcissist or not, because they can't really wear a mask for long. In a few weeks or a few months' time, in a relationship, you will gradually kind of figure out that this person has these traits, because they can't pretend to be like a nice person all the time. And this is why when you come across a lot of people who are in authority or are powerful figures, it's really difficult for the general public to believe what the victim has gone through, because these people are really good at portraying themselves as nice people, but those who have been affected by them know how evil they are.
Right, I completely understand what you're saying. I mean, just in terms of, obviously, the way the Muslim community, the South Asian community work is, pre-getting married, there is going to be a period of courtship, of getting to know each other. Now, is there any way of calling out a narcissist or getting to know that this person suffers from a narcissistic personality disorder in that courtship period? Or do you think that the narcissist is good or at covering during that period, and you will only get to know them post-marriage? So I guess my question is there any way of catching them out, for want of a better word, during that initial courtship period, rather than it then go to marriage, and obviously then, you know, it goes downhill from there? So how would you actually advise somebody to, I would say, test whether this person is a narcissist or not?
There are certain red flags that one has to look out for. And there's a classic pattern when it comes to their behavior. It starts with the love bombing phase, where the narcissist is going to put you really high on a pedestal, treat you like you're the most important person in their life, bombard you with flattery and praises, and make you feel really special, bombard you with gifts, you know, flowers and chocolates and what have you, make you feel that you're the only person that they truly, truly want. They'll say certain things like, you're the one I've always, made dua for, or you're the one I've always wanted, or I can't believe how lucky I am to have you, things like these. So the other person feels like, oh, they're really lucky, they're really special, and this person truly values me and appreciates me. But that's the first phase. So what you need to look out for is how fast is this person moving during the courtship period, because they are not that patient. They want everything to move really fast, because they know that before you truly find out who they really are and they back out from the relationship or engagement, they really want you to kind of believe in them, trust them, so that you can quickly fall as prey. And the term that we use, baiting, it's like when you when you go fishing and you put the bait, that's exactly what they do. So they're going to throw things which will earn your trust. They'll make you feel like they are genuinely concerned about you, your well-being, they truly love you, and they'll agree with everything that you say. And another pattern that they show is mirroring. So for example, if you say, oh, I love taking long walks in the nature, or my hobby is to do painting or reading, they'll be like, oh, really? You know what? I love going into forests and park and going for long walks myself. I love nature, and I love painting too. So basically, they're going to mirror you. They're going to say everything that you want to hear. And they're going to observe you and find out what you like, what you don't like, so that they can say things accordingly to win your trust. And then after the love bombing stage, the next stage is when they kind of start ignoring you or start manipulating you, controlling you. Because psychological manipulation is the tool that they use to keep you in that relationship. That means they'll make you feel guilty. There'll be times when you feel that you're going crazy, or they'll kind of gaslight you in the sense that whatever you say, they'll be dismissive towards you. They will say things that will make you feel, that will make you kind of lose your confidence, your self-esteem. You'll be constantly apologizing to them because you'll be made to feel guilty for things that you haven't said or done. So from one phase to where they give you so much of importance and they'll tell you that, oh, they love these things about you, suddenly the same things that they loved about you, they'll start hating about you. And control and power is like the main giveaway. They're really controlling. And this is where coercive control comes in, because that's how they keep their partner or prey under their control.
Brilliant. Warisa, thank you very much for that. We'll continue talking to Warisa after the break. There is a couple of things that I do want to ask Warisa. Mainly is how do you, if you can, fix a narcissist, which we get asked a lot. We'll see you after the break. Stay tuned. Take care.
Do you need help with your marriage? Do you suspect infidelity in your marriage? Are you struggling to gain the truth over a matter of concern? Whatever the concern, we're here to try and help. Email us for free support today at marriagematters@britishmuslim.tv.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the show. We were speaking to Warisa. We're now going to carry on speaking to Warisa about narcissism, narcissistic personality disorder. So Warisa, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Brilliant. So I was going to ask you, before the break, you were talking a lot about, obviously, the initial courtship and what they say and how they act with you and the mirroring and absolutely everything, which we've seen. Now, what I want to ask you, and I think a lot of people out there are probably thinking the same thing, is how do you tell the difference between normal courtship and, as we probably all know, and a lot of people watching, in the initial stages of relationship, everybody's very loved up, they're very sort of happy, and they want to see each other all the time, and they almost, to ingratiate themselves or to, sort of get closer to the partner, they do mirror them, and they say, oh, do you like this? I also like this, and let's go here and let's go there. So how do you differentiate between a genuine courtship and then that of a narcissistic personality? I mean, is there a time frame? Is there things you need, like I said, the red flags, is there anything you need to look out for that? If you can delve into that a little bit deeper.
So in order to understand what it's like to be in a relationship with a narcissist, you first have to understand what a healthy relationship looks like. So a healthy relationship is where things are consistent, right? So if I say I love you, I care for you, then I'll be consistent in what I say and what my actions are like. There will be like, it will be parallel. But for a narcissist, they'll say one thing, but their actions speak otherwise. In a safe, healthy, happy, fulfilling relationship, you feel loved, you feel valued, appreciated, you feel comfortable, and most importantly, safe. But when you're with a narcissist, you don't feel safe. You feel like you're walking on eggshells. You're always being controlled. You're told what to do, what not to do, what to wear, who to speak with, who not to speak with. It's like you have no privacy, no me time. You feel isolated because the narcissist will prevent you from communicating with your friends, your loved ones, your family members. And another thing is that when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you do not feel the same way as you used to feel before you got into this relationship. So all the things that you loved to do previously, you've suddenly lost interest in that because of the toxic and dysfunctional relationship that you're living in, where you're constantly devalued, rejected, ignored, isolated, humiliated, accused, blamed. So all the negativity, it kind of forms this cognitive dissonance where you kind of form two kind of parts in your brain, in the sense that one part of you denies what's happening and the other part tries to justify the perpetrator's behavior. So you get so confused and you feel crazy and out of control that even when you can see things are not going right, that certain things are wrong, you try to justify it. You kind of gaslight your own self by trying to justify that person's behavior, that, you know what, things will get better. I can change him. I'll fix him. He only gets angry or throws things at me when he gets stressed at work. Or, you start kind of gaslighting your own self. And this person will even try to hide your relationship with him or her. Whereas a healthy relationship, there is nothing to hide. Similarly, when you're in love, you feel that you're truly being valued and appreciated and respected. But with a narcissist, there is no respect. They don't respect your boundaries. They will violate your boundaries. So there are a lot of things that you need to look out for when you are either in the courting period where you're trying to get to know this person, or you're already engaged. You need to always remind yourself that if this person is moving too fast, if this person is, like, sometimes you say, too good to be true, maybe it probably is. So before you 100% trust somebody, try to put them in different situations and see how they react. For example, if they say something, try saying no to them, just for the sake of it, just to see how this person reacts when you say no. Does he get angry? Does he get aggressive? Does he or she get violent? These are some of the ways you can test the person, because they will be testing you to see whether you are the ideal candidate who can be easily manipulated, easily controlled, easily possessed. So these are some of the signs you can look for.
There's something you touched upon earlier when you obviously, again, with the whole sort of control element, etc., and trying to test them, put them in different situations. But in terms of the sort of narcissist taking over you and sort of controlling you, does that, when does that actually then take hold, in the sense that obviously they're getting to know you, you're getting to know them? At what point does a narcissist's mask fall off, and that's when they're truly in control and they're truly in charge of everything? Or is it more of a incremental increase to that point where, like you said, you'd no longer know who you are, you're not talking to your family, etc.? And how can external people help? So let's say if your family are noticing these things, they're telling you these things, your friends have started talking to you and saying, listen, you don't come out with us anymore, your family, your mum, dad is saying you don't call us anymore. Yes. What should the person do? Should they take heed of that and actually maybe look around and think, maybe I do need to start listening to my family and friends, and not just this person who is in complete control of my life?
So one of the unfortunate things are that not everybody understands. In fact, most people don't understand what it's like being with a narcissist, because explaining to an outsider, a family member or a friend or a work colleague or a neighbor, what it's like living with a narcissist is like explaining to somebody who's colorblind what colors are all about. You have to be in that situation to understand, because the way they manipulate you psychologically, it's not necessary that there will be physical abuse or sexual abuse going on. It's just the control, the overall control that they have on you, and the manipulation that comes along, and the degradation that comes along, and the cycle that continues. For example, the first stage is the idealization stage, where they'll make you feel like you're the ideal person on earth. You're the one for them. We're like soulmates, twin flames. You're made to feel so special. And then after the idealization phase comes the devaluation phase, where they kind of ignore you, isolate you. You're trying to have a conversation with them, and they'll just kind of stonewall you, like, I don't want to hear, I don't want to talk about this, or just leave the room. And they'll kind of discard you.
Is
where,
that sorry?
some people even ghost you, like don't communicate with you at all, act like you don't
Right,
exist.
sorry, just to stop there. So just something you said earlier is obviously post that then. So once they're in fully in control, they start sort of ignoring it. Do you think that is, in your professional opinion, is that because they've got you, they've possessed you, so they don't need to impress you anymore. They don't need to.
You're my property now.
Yes, I can do whatever I want.
I can do anything as I damn well please,
Yeah.
and you can't do anything about it because nobody's going to believe you.
Yeah. So by that time, the sort of takeover is
evidence.
complete. So the actual takeover by then is complete now. So you've got nowhere to go. You're kind of boxed in. Now,
Yeah, you're stuck.
One aspect of this, which we get asked a lot, and a lot of people, there's been debates, etc., and it's the last sort of aspect I want to touch upon, is can you, how do you, and is it possible to ever fix a narcissistic personality? We get that asked a lot. So if you, in your professional opinion and in your experience, if you want to tell us about that.
You can never fix somebody who doesn't acknowledge that they're broken. You can never change someone who doesn't acknowledge that there is something wrong with the behavior. You can never resolve an issue if the person who's creating that issue is in complete denial. These people know exactly what they're doing because they can choose who they want to target. They can choose where to be nice and friendly and humble, and where to be really mean and bully, where to be a bully and like extremely controlling and possessive. So to say that you can fix someone is the biggest lie you're going to tell yourself, because the person you are trying to fix, and even the Bible says never marry a man to reform him, because this person doesn't want to be fixed, because for them, they are perfect. There's nothing wrong with me. And if you try to explain to them that they're causing a problem in the relationship, or the problem is stemming from them, or you're getting upset or hurt by their behavior or the things that they do or say, they will just turn around and blame everything on you because they love projection. So if you say to them that what you said was pretty spiteful or hurtful, or what you're accusing me of is not true, they will twist and turn and put it on you that you're accusing them. You're being suspicious of them. You don't trust them. So you can't reason with them. You cannot fix them. You cannot change them because they don't want to be changed. And this applies across every single person who may be a difficult person. If they don't see the problem, you can't fix it. So even if they go to a therapist, for example, for a marriage counseling or what have you, research suggests, and we've got enough statistics to prove, that narcissists are the most difficult people to treat, the most difficult problem to be resolved, because they don't see it as a problem.
Right.
For them, the problem is everybody else.
Yeah. So there's no sort of self-reflection. There's no inner dialogue. There's no sort of let me look at myself first, and then maybe if I can see what's wrong with me, I'll acknowledge it. But then the issue is if they admit there's a problem, they need to acknowledge it and they need to confront that. And then sometimes they don't want to do that. So essentially what you're saying is that if you're married to a narcissist, it's a bit of an end game. There's no fixing them. There's no reasoning with them. It's basically a brick wall.
Exactly.
Last thought.
What you can do to protect yourself and your sanity and to look after your own well-being, whether it's mental or physical, because often people who are living with a narcissist, they end up with chronic long-term medical conditions or adrenal fatigue or long-term, terminal illness, even because of the stress and anxiety and depression that comes along. What you can do is set boundaries, because what they love doing is crossing the boundaries that people often set, because they know that this person won't be able to, hold on to the boundaries that they are setting. So I can easily manipulate them and get my way. For example, if the person says, no, you can't stop me from meeting my parents or my siblings, I will meet them. And they say, no, you can't. And they say you can't. And you're like kind of give in to their, whims or tantrums. Yeah, then absolutely. They know exactly who they are dealing with. They know that this person is quite weak.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope you've taken a lot away from this, and inshallah, we'll see you on the next episode of Marriage Matters. Take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum.
Do you need help with your marriage? Do you suspect infidelity in your marriage? Are you struggling to gain the truth over a matter of concern? Whatever the concern, we're here to try and help. Email us for free support today at marriagematters@britishmuslim.tv.